There are just 3 nights to go in the G1 Climax 28. In this video, we're going to take a look at all the tie-breaking the tie-breaking rules, all of the possible scenarios for who could win their block, as well as we'll preview the finals. Let's get this video done before the marijuana edibles take hold. It's spoiler-free wrestling. So before we get to today's video, just want to make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, to make sure you're keeping up to date with all the news and videos we put out on this website. Also, give me a follow at Ian is a good dude on Twitter, because I am, or at least try to be, a good dude. Okay, so I am recording this at 4:30 Eastern Time on Friday. So in about 10 hours or so, the final night of the A block is going to get underway. So let's take a look now. Well, before we get into the A block, let's take a look at the 2 main tie-breaking rules for these tournaments. So the main tiebreaker that I think everybody's aware of, a tie between 2 wrestlers is broken based on the result in their one-on-one match. So, however they did against each other, that's the tiebreaker. But now, what I think some people don't know as well is the second tiebreaker rule, which is if 2 or more wrestlers are tied at the end of the round robin, the winner is determined based on which wrestler has the most points in only those matches against the other wrestlers they are tied with. Now, if you didn't know this rule, don't feel too bad. Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino once called the final night of a Best of the Super Juniors round robin, and were clueless as to this, so you're not alone if you didn't know that. There are some other tiebreakers that are not frequently used. For instance, 3 wrestlers could tie all with 1-1 records against each other. In that case, there would have to be some type of playoff. Magically, that tends to not happen too often. So we'll go into the A block for the G1 Climax 28 tournament, and we'll take a look at who is alive with 1 night remaining in the A block. So we've got, and this is all in, you can check out this post on SEScoops.com. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. I put this up this morning, looking at the tie-breaking procedures. So Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jay White are tied atop the standings at 14 points. Now, Jay White actually holds the tiebreaker over Tanahashi. So if the round robin ended today, Jay White would move on in the A block. So the final 2 matches in the A block will be Jay White going up against Evil. Evil is mathematically eliminated. And Kazuchika Okada going up against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, Okada needs to win and needs some help. So Okada's winning scenarios and tiebreakers are Okada needs to defeat Tanahashi and Evil needs to defeat Jay White, or White versus Evil goes to a draw. So Okada needs a win and some help. He either needs Evil to beat Jay White, or he needs Jay White and Evil to go to a draw, but then he definitely needs to beat Tanahashi. There's no room for error. He lost his first 2 matches in the tournament, and now Okada, if he wins his final match of the round robin over Hiroshi Tanahashi, he'll have won 7 straight matches, and he'll need to do that to have a hope of moving on. Now, if Jay White wins, let's look at Jay White's winning scenario. White needs to defeat Evil, and then Okada needs to defeat Tanahashi. Because if Tanahashi gets... wait, that's not right. If they're both tied at 14. Are they actually tied at 14? Let's just go ahead and check old Wikipedia on this one. So Jay White, he holds the tiebreaker over both Okada and... Sorry, I'm just looking this up. On the first 2 nights of the A block, Jay White beat Okada and Tanahashi. So if those 3 end up tied, then Jay White is the guy that moves on. And let's just take a look here if Jay White So if he has 7 wins already. No, Jay White's only at 12 points. Okay, so that's why that got all fucked up. Jay White's at 12 points. So if he defeats Evil and Okada defeats Tanahashi, there's then a 3-way tie atop the A block with 14 points. In that scenario, Jay White moves on because White has defeated both Okada and Tanahashi. So he has 4 out of a possible 4 points against the wrestlers who he'd be tied with. Okada would have 2, and Tanahashi would have none, because Okada and Tanahashi would have met on the last night of the tournament. So for Tanahashi, all he needs to do is a win or a draw, since he's at 14 points, and the next highest is at 12. All Tanahashi needs to then do is get a point. So he could go to a 30-minute draw with Okada, and that's enough. So that might come into play when you're watching Okada versus Tanahashi early Friday morning if you're going to watch it live, which, I mean, you can just watch it later. But, so that could come down to it. Okada's got to beat Tanahashi. Tanahashi does not have to beat Okada. And in fact, Okada, if Jay White wins, he's already eliminated by the time the match starts. So you're thinking, well, that won't happen because Okada, they're going to want him in there for the last match. Are they, though? Because Okada, well, Jay White has been building a bit of a rivalry with other members of Chaos lately. The situation as it is means that Kazuchika Okada could go into that final match with Tanahashi knowing that he's not moving on anyway, but if he beats Tanahashi, his Chaos stablemate Jay White will move on. And in fact, if Jay White beats Evil and Okada and Tanahashi go to a draw, then Jay White moves on. So we could see in the final night of the A block, Kazuchika Okada not in a position to advance to the finals himself, but actually in a position to advance his Chaos stablemate Jay White. And of course, the other members of Chaos haven't exactly been getting along too well with Jay White. So that could come into play. But of course, if White loses to Evil, then we're just looking at a straight one-on-one match between Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Kazuchika Okada needing to win to move on to the finals, and Hiroshi Tanahashi simply needing to not lose. So that's the A block. It comes down to those 2 final matches in the round robin. Evil versus Jay White. Jay White needing a win to move on. And then Kazuchika Okada versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, where Kazuchika Okada is either wrestling to send Jay White to the finals or he's wrestling to send himself to the finals. All right, let's go to the B block now. The B block, which has had some of the most exciting nights in the tournament. There are 3 wrestlers still in the mix of things who could still take it in the B block. That's IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega, former IWGP Heavyweight Champion Tetsuya Naito. Both of them are tied at 12 points. However, Omega has the tiebreaker over Naito due to their round-robin match on the first night of Block B when Omega defeated Naito in the main event. So let's take a look at the winning scenarios for Kenny Omega. Omega only needs a draw to... No, that's not right. Omega needs a win. Okay, so if Omega wins, he's in. He doesn't necessarily move on with a draw because Naito could beat Zack Sabre Jr., which would give Naito 14 points to Omega's 13. So a draw doesn't do it for Omega. Now, for Ibushi, Ibushi needs to beat Kenny Omega, but he also needs Zack Sabre Jr. to beat Tetsuya Naito. That would lead to a 4-way tie atop Group B that would be won by Kota Ibushi. If there's a 4-way tie atop Group B, Kota Ibushi holds the tiebreakers over Zack Sabre Jr. and Naito. And Kota Ibushi. Has Kota Ibushi, how did he do against Zack Sabre Jr.? And Kota Ibushi defeated Zack Sabre Jr. Let me just double that up to make sure that's true. Yeah, so Kota Ibushi beat Zack Sabre Jr., beat Tetsuya Naito, and then under this scenario, he would have beaten Kenny Omega. So, if Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Naito and Kota Ibushi defeats Omega, Kota Ibushi moves on. Naito can move on with a draw and a Kenny Omega loss, because that would give Kota Ibushi 12 points, Kenny Omega... Wait, okay, so if Kota Ibushi beats Kenny Omega and Tetsuya Naito draws, Tetsuya Naito moves on, as Ibushi would have 12 points, Omega 12 points, and Naito 13 points, and Zack Sabre Jr. 11. So Kota Ibushi needs to beat Omega, and Zack Sabre Jr. needs to beat Naito. That's his winning scenarios. Tetsuya Naito, he needs to win against Zack Sabre Jr., and he needs either for Ibushi to defeat Omega or for Omega versus Ibushi to go to a draw. And those are the scenarios. So we've got 6 people out of 20 still with a chance to win the G1. That's Kenny Omega, Tetsuya Naito, Kota Ibushi, Kazuchika Okada, Jay White, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. One of those 6 will win the G1 tournament. Very exciting stuff. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel to make sure you're kept up to date on all the stories that we're following at Spoiler Free Wrestling. You can also check me out. I'm a dirt sheet writer at SEScoops.com as well as MMAnews.com. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at IanIsAGoodDude. And also, we've kind of split this YouTube channel up into 2 channels as we're still waiting for YouTube to get back to us. So we're trying things a bit of again on an entirely different channel. I hope you will continue to support this YouTube channel as we wait for YouTube partner approval. Thanks very much, guys. I'm the Guy from Spoiler Free Wrestling.